Hello, and welcome to Beyond Books, where we talk about books and always go beyond. I'm your host, I'm Renee, and before we get started with my August wrap-up, I did want to take an extra moment to discuss the great coffee drama of 2024. Now, if you haven't heard about this, I'm going to link several videos in the description box of this video, and I strongly suggest that you watch those. Now, at first glance, you're just going to think that these are just silly videos, but really, when you think about it, they do serve a purpose. Coffee drinking, including slurping, spilling, and at least one episode of spewing has apparently become rampant in the booktube community as of late. And I think it was time to lay down some ground rules. And I'm glad to see this happening. However, like any attempt to herd cats, the rules haven't always been enthusiastically embraced, and as a consequence now, there are several response videos as well as conspiracy theories that have been spawned. Now, while I appreciate this tit-for-tat discussion, and I can't believe that I just said that with a straight face, I do want to be sure that I am correctly following the rules as they currently stand. So now that being said, I would like to attempt a surreptitious sip. Without a slurp, knowing that that will be critiqued and hopefully accepted as appropriate. So just one more thing before we leave the coffee drama situation. I also understand that decaf is unacceptable. Now, again, in my younger years, I would have no doubt agreed with that assessment. However, now that I'm a senior booktuber, I find that I have a certain sensitivity to caffeine, and I can only drink a small amount in the morning. My afternoon coffee, and afternoon for me is 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., well, that one needs to be a decaf. And I can only have one, because by then I've already taken my morning and afternoon medications. So now, if this starts to become a problem, I'm pretty confident that I can get a doctor's note, which I would hope would be acceptable to the community. But, please review the linked videos, do your research on this, please, and get back to me because it is that important. But anyway, now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and wrap up August. August started on a strange note for me when I picked up Stranger in a Strange Land by Robert A. Heinlein. I talked a little about this in my August TBR video, and I find that strange is a very good term indeed. This was kind of out of character for me. It is a science fiction book. However, it is a book that I've wanted to read since high school, and for some reason, I never did. So now I have. It was strange, and I expected that. However, it was strange in a different way than I expected. So once I realized that, I just abandoned all expectations and I started expecting the unexpected. And, it got better for me. The final 200 pages went much smoother than the rest. And there were some parts that I really enjoyed. Now, would I read another Heinlein book? Yeah, I would. But it might be a little while. So one thing that I do suggest, if you are interested in this book, you might want to consider getting the abridged version. This is the uncut version, and you can see how thick it is. It's about 500 pages. The abridged version, which is the more common one, I think, is actually about 150 pages shorter. So something to think about if you're interested in it. Next, I read one of the band, and that was Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. This is a phenomenal read, okay? Straight up. I mean, it's really good. Her writing for a 13-year-old is just absolutely incredible. And that's what impressed me most about the book. I'll do a full review of this book and talk about the reasons why it's banned, etc., in a subsequent video, which will be out soon, because I did this as a buddy read with Daniela from Uncommon Reader, and we're going to post our videos together, and put links to each other's videos in our description box. So that'll be interesting to see, the book from our two perspectives. But I will say one thing about this book. First, after reading it, I was sad. It does leave you with a sad feeling. But later that same day, I turned on the TV, and I know that's always a mistake. There was a politician on there who we all know, and he was spouting off about mass deportation. And after reading a book about a family hiding out in another country because they were in Amsterdam, not in their native Germany, when this book is written, they were already banished from their own country because Nazi soldiers were rounding up anyone deemed different, not belonging, not accepted. Well, after reading that kind of a story, when you hear the words mass deportation, it hits differently and harder. Immigration reform, sure. I'm sure many different government agencies need routine reform. But mass deportation, that makes me question exactly what we're talking about here. Anyway, review and more discussion to follow. Next, I read a book called First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. And this was my book of the month for August. I did a full review, which I will link in the description box. It is a thriller, and it was quite good. Like I say, I have a full review of that. So if you have any questions about that one, links below. Next, I read a book that was very interesting called Remarkably Bright Creatures. And this is by Shelby Van Pelt. This is a book with an octopus as a main character. His name is Marcellus, and he has a voice. He actually has a few chapters in the book that are written from his point of view. Last Thursday, which was the 22nd of August, I attended an author talk online, and the author, Shelby Van Pelt, was very interesting to listen to. One thing she did say about the book is that it's not really about an octopus. The octopus is just a vehicle, and the story itself is about the human condition, especially with regard to grief and loss. Interestingly now, Shelby Van Pelt is not a marine biologist as, you may think that she is. But she is from the Pacific Northwest, where the story takes place. She attended a creative writing class, and that's where she developed this octopus character. Everyone liked it, and she was encouraged to embellish the story more and ended up finalizing it as this novel. In the book now, Marcellus develops a relationship with a woman named Tova. Tova is an older lady who cleans the aquarium in the evenings when all the tourists have left. And Tova's husband and son have both passed. So Tova has really experienced a lot of loss in her life. She has friends, but she never really opens up to them. She starts talking to Marcellus because Marcellus is quiet. He just sits and listens in a non-judgmental way. And that's just what Tova kind of needs at the moment. So this was a very enjoyable read for me. And many of you who commented on my video where I first talked about it also said that you had really enjoyed this book. It is very well written, and the characters are well developed and very interesting. The author did say that she writes the characters first and then kind of lets them tell the story. That's her style of writing. A couple of people at the author talk also mentioned that the audiobook is really fun to listen to, and they really loved the narrators that were used. So next, I started a book, and I'm still reading it now. I'm really not very far into it, and that is called I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. I've just started it again, but I'm confident that it will be finished in August because so far I'm loving it. This is my first experience with Maya Angelou's writing, other than her poetry, and it's really fantastic. It's the kind of book that I just want to take and just sit down with and read nonstop. It's also a banned book. So when I complete it, I will do a full review and talk about why it's banned and all of that kind of thing. This I am reading as part of the Phenomenal Woman Readathon that was hosted by MarilynMayaMendoza, and I will put a link to her channel below as well. So also this little book came with my book of the month. It's just a little 33-page volume. I never had gotten anything like this from Book of the Month before, so wasn't sure what it was about, but it's basically a short story. Although I think next month I might get another installment. There are some loose ends here, to be sure. So let me tell you a little bit about it. First of all, it's written in the second person perspective. So I kind of feel like I'm the main character in the story. And I was a little taken aback when I met a man in the first few pages and was sleeping with him almost immediately. That was a bit jarring. Not only that, but we soon became engaged. However, it wasn't long before I was secretly visited by a woman who claimed to know this man. She also had been engaged to him, and she informed me that he goes after women for their money. And he's done this to multiple women. Not only that, but he becomes very possessive and even abusive. And I don't believe her at first, but eventually I realized that I need to get away from this guy. However, I also come to learn that I'm pregnant. He doesn't know about the baby yet, and I really don't want to tell him. He won't stay away from me long enough for me to get away, because I do want to keep the baby and raise the baby, but I want to do it on my own. I really, don't feel like I want to continue any kind of relationship with this man now. So finally, one weekend, he has to go away, and I'm able to escape. Phew. So far, I'm the only one that's really been able to escape him. Usually, he's the one that leaves the women once he either has their money or realizes that he isn't going to get their money. So I guess that's why it's called a spell for disappearing. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm kind of excited to find out more. And of course, I'll let you know as that develops. So finally, I'm going to close with a poem by Mary Oliver. I have been reading my way through this book, Devotions, this month as well. So this poem that I'm going to read is about going out into the woods. And lately I've posted several videos where I take you, my dear viewers, along with me. So here we go. How I go to the woods. Ordinarily, I go to the woods alone, with not a single friend, for they are all smilers and talkers, and therefore unsuitable. I don't really want to be witnessed talking to the catbirds or hugging the old black oak tree. I have my way of praying, as you no doubt have yours. Besides, when I am alone, I can become invisible. I can sit on the top of a dune, as motionless as an uprise of weeds, until the foxes run by unconcerned. I can hear the almost unbearable sound of the roses singing. If you have ever gone to the woods with me, I must love you very much. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.